Another movie review. This one's called Mr. Arkadin. Arkadin, excuse me. The Corinth version. I'm giving this 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. I couldn't find the 39-minute version on YouTube, either the trailer or the movie itself. Orson Welles' Mr. Arkadin, aka Confidential Report, tells the story of an elusive billionaire who hires an American smuggler to investigate his past, leading to a dizzying descent into a Cold War European landscape. The film's history is also marked by this vertigo. This cut is known as the Corinth version and it was unearthed by filmmaker-writer Peter Bogdanovich, the guy who hides his turkey neck with a scarf. This is Orson Welles' 1992. In the early 1960s, in the vaults of film distributors M&A Alexander, based on statements made by Welles and editor Renzo Lucidi, the Corinth version is thought to be the latest extant version to have been under Welles' control. So this is essentially the closest thing to a director's cut, I think. Mr. Arkadin, first released in Spain, 1955, known in Britain as Confidential Report, is a French, Spanish, Swiss co-production film written and directed by Orson Welles and shot in several Spanish locations, including Costa Brava, Segovia, Valladolid, and Madrid. Filming took place throughout Europe in 1954, and scenes shot outside Spain include locations in London, Munich, Paris, the French Riviera, and at the Chateau de Chalin in Switzerland. So if you want to take a European trip circa 1954, watch this flick. It's a great black and white flick. It's like a dystopian nightmare, almost. I don't know how to describe it, but it's way better than Citizen Kane, in my opinion. I got it because it's a Cold War film, supposedly. I don't think it takes sides either way, communist or USA #1 or USSR #1. I don't think it takes sides either way. But the dialogue is so inane and bizarre, and the cinematography too. It's like being in a nightmare dream. That kind of thing. All right. So Professor Quiz was having problems with the notification bell. It's not working. If any of you know how to direct Professor Quiz in the right direction, please reply to his comment, or reply to the links that I replied to his comment with instructions, or just point out that I posted 5 links of my most recent videos so that he can take a look and comment. His comment is on my the Russians are coming video. So go to that video, reply to my comments, reply to his comments, and hopefully we can get this straightened out, because I have no idea how to fix the notification bill on YouTube. I don't know how to help him. All right, Guy Van Straten, a small-time American U.S. smuggler working in Europe, seeks out a Munich resident named Jacob Zook to warn him about a plot against his life. Zook is terminally ill, and he receives the news with apathy. So Stratton explains his personal reasons for wanting to help keep Zook alive. His narrative accompanied by scenes in a flashback. So the movie starts out at the end with an empty plane, and you're going, what the heck is this empty plane got to do with the rest of the movie? And you're wondering that until the very end of the movie. Stratton's story begins in Naples, where he gets a trip that Gregory Arkadin, a famous international oligarch of Russian heritage, played by Orson Welles, in a beard. He looks great. I love that beard. He possesses a dark secret centered on the name Sophie. Stratton and his girlfriend and accomplice Millie traveled to Arkadin's castle in Spain, hoping to use this meager information for blackmail by striking up a friendship with Arkadin's daughter, Raina. She's very good looking. She's got short hair. Seemingly the only person for whom Arkadin feels affection. Oh, kind of like me and my son. Stratton gets himself invited into the castle. Arkadin has already learned of Stratton and Millie's interest in him and of the couple's criminal history. Instead of turning them away, he openly offers to pay for information about his past, which has been blotted out by amnesia, or so he says. Arkadin says that in 1927, he woke up in a square in Switzerland with a large sum of money in his pocket and no memory of his identity or past career. Well, that seems a little far-fetched, hard to believe, but they believe him. He successfully rebuilt his life, but he is troubled by not knowing how it began. Stratton impresses him as sufficiently discreet and enterprising to find out. Arkadin takes Millie on a yacht cruise while Stratton travels the world searching for clues. He communicates periodically with Raina, and a romance forms between the two, much to Arkadin's displeasure, from interviews with a strange series of people. You kind of love these characters in this movie. They have to be the sleaziest characters on the planet. The proprietor of a flea circus, a junk shop owner, an impoverished nobleman in Paris, and a heroin addict he tortures with withdrawal. Oh, those are all great scenes. Stratton learns that the pre-1927 Arkadin was involved in a sex trafficking ring, white slavery, in Warsaw, abducting girls and selling them into prostitution in South Africa. Sophie is the former leader, another sleazy character. Sophie is the former leader of the ring and Arkadin's old girlfriend. She's got the wrinkles and the turkey neck and the bat wings going while she's smoking a cigarette, from whom he stole the money that he found in his pocket in Switzerland. She proves to be a relaxed, tolerant woman who remembers Arkadin with affection, and she has no intention of publicizing his past. In the closing stages of the investigation, Stratton discovers that Arkadin has been following him and he has been visiting all the witnesses. He confers with Raina, who startles him by stating that her father does not have amnesia. The entire pretext for hiring Stratton was a fraud. That should have come as no surprise. Stratton attends Arkadin's Christmas Eve party in Munich, another bizarre scene, where he learns the real purpose of his investigation. Arkadin wished to cover up his criminal past, fearing especially that Raina might learn of it and cease to love him. She might cease to love him. He used Stratton to locate people possessing potentially dangerous evidence, all of whom have been murdered. Pretty clever trick there. Millie is also dead, and Stratton has been framed for killing her, with the implication that he too will be silenced before the police catch him. Stratton hastens to find Jacob Zook. Okay, here's another scene that appeared at the beginning, or it started at the beginning. This movie is all over the place, man. You're scratching your head going, man, this is like a really good crime mystery. The last surviving member of the sex trafficking ring is Jacob Zook, hoping to use Robert Arden, aka Stratton, hopes to use him as some kind of weapon against Arkadin. Zook grudgingly consents to go into hiding, but Arkadin soon traces him and has him stabbed to death. He's very methodical about killing him. It's like he's Chinese water torture, watching this guy being chased, Zook. And Stratton offers to give him a goose liver for Christmas. But he ends up getting stabbed in the back when he brings the goose liver. Stratton makes a desperate new plan, and he buys the last seat on a plane to Barcelona. Raina has agreed to meet him at the airport. There he intends to reveal her father's secret in the hope that this will break Arkadin's spirit and it will make him abandon the plot. It's the opposite effect. Arkadin realizes what Stratton is doing, and he pursues him in a private plane. Yeah, he can't buy a seat on the airplane that he owns. Even after he offers to pay $1 million Deutschmarks for a seat on the plane. Stratton and Raina connect at the airport, but she is almost immediately summoned to the control tower to talk to her father on the radio. With no time to explain, Stratton convinces her to say he convinces her to say it's too late. The lie fills Arkadin with despair, and he commits suicide by hurling himself out of the plane, thus explaining the beginning of the movie, which I kind of had an idea of what would happen 10 minutes prior when he jumped in that private plane. All right. Ultimately, Raina cannot condemn Stratton for the death of her father, but their love affair is at an end. The story was based on several episodes of the radio series The Lives of Harry Lime. I've got I've got 3 versions of the Lives of Harry Lime radio series. That's going to take me about an hour and a half to get through. I don't know if I can get through all of these discs today, but I've got confidential report version, which is the version on YouTube. That's an hour 38 minutes, plus God knows how many bonus features on this Criterion Collection disc. unlike other movies, the Netflix sent me all 3 discs for this Cold War Red Scare movie, which doesn't have much Cold War Red Scare in it. I've got the comprehensive version, which is disc 3, 1 hour 45 minutes. So I'm going to try to get through these, as many of these as I can. I woke up early. I slept for 13 and a half hours last night because I had some weird stuff going on this past week. I was supposed to do my independent contractor job for Good Eggs Saturday. I was supposed to get a double shift, make $260, but I had a scheduling conflict with my third job when I was supposed to start training, or at least I scheduled to start training on Saturday afternoon, work at Good Eggs Saturday morning. I talked to Stephanie. I said, Stephanie, this is probably the last time that I'll ever see you. My life is ruined. And then she just goes, oh, yeah, my life is pretty bad, too. And then I said, my son won't talk to me. He's going through puberty. She said, yeah, they're really a-holes or something. I don't know. She just stormed off, like trying to avoid me, which is fine. I don't want to cross the bridge, make like $20 an hour to work at Good Eggs and then get taxed next year when I file my taxes because I didn't update it quarterly or do whatever. So I'll probably quit my second job tomorrow at Good Eggs. I'm not wasting bridge toll. They're still letting me take free food from there, but the most I got yesterday was a pretzel and some pretzel hot dog buns. So that basically canceled out the bridge toll, but it's still not enough money. Getting paid more on my other 2 jobs, so there's no reason for me to stretch out my sleeping schedule on Saturdays just to work there. Doesn't make sense. But we'll see what kind of schedule I get tomorrow. And I don't know. Everything's constantly in flux. I had to reschedule my third job training for Monday because there was a conflict, or maybe I scheduled it too soon. I don't know. But I'm meeting with the lady, the one trainer in Belmont tomorrow morning. Hopefully I can get that out of the way, get a decent schedule with them, get some decent cash tips. It's a ride-sharing job, kind of like Uber or Lyft, but it's W-2. They have great benefits. Pays $24 to $28 an hour on Friday and Saturday nights. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I hope it goes well. I'm crossing my fingers. The main inspiration for the plot was the episode entitled Man of Mystery, which I may or may not have. Kind of hesitant to press the play button. Let's try this one. Oh, I do have the Man of Mystery episode. It's the first one. Cool. Though some elements may have been lifted from an episode of the radio show Ellery Queen entitled The Case of Number 31. I'm having problems finding Ellery Queen on Netflix, but maybe I can find it on YouTube within my lifetime. Chiefly the similar sounding name George Arcaris, the mysterious birthplace, the French Riviera property, and the Spanish castle. Most of the other key elements of Arkadin's character come from real-life arms dealer Basil Zaharoff. All right, so several differing versions of the film were released in his 1991 essay. The Seven Arkadins film historian Jonathan Rosenbaum identified 7 different versions of the stories, and since its initial publication, 2 more versions have emerged, including a novel and a stage play. When Wells missed an editing deadline, producer Louis Dolivet took the film out of his hands and Dolivet released several edits of the film, none of which were approved by Wells. Adding to the confusion is a novel of the same title that was credited to Wells, though Wells claimed that he was unaware of the book's existence until he saw a copy in a bookshop. Wells' friend Maurice Bessy, a French screenwriter, is generally considered to be the author of the novel. In an interview for BBC's Arena series, first shown in 1982, Wells described Mr. Arkadin as the biggest disaster of his life because of his loss of creative control. The film was not released in the United States until 1962. So Netflix has 1962 on all 3 of these discs. I put 1955 because I'm going with the European release date, not the U.S. release date. Countess Paula di Gerfalco, who played the role of Arkadin's daughter under her stage name of Paula Mori, the hot-looking babe, would later become Wells' 3rd wife. Wow. Just like a Hollywood actor, Mary early and marry often. That's the general rule in Hollywood. I've only had 2 wives. Wells had at least 3. The film started Wells' longtime relationship with Spain, where he lived several periods in his life. Released in some parts of Europe as Confidential Report, this film shares themes and stylistic devices with The Third Man, 1949. So it ripped off the Ellery Queen radio show and The Third Man, both of which I have not seen or heard. In his 1991 essay, The Seven Arkadins, film historian Jason Rosenbaum identified 7 different versions of the story. And since the essay's initial publication, 2 more versions have emerged. There are 2 pre-film versions and different edits of the film released in Wells' lifetime. There's a novelization and a Criterion edit. So there are 11 versions. Japanese film director Shinji Aoyama listed Confidential Report as one of the greatest films of all time in 2012. He said, "No other movie is destructive as Confidential Report, which gives me different emotions every time I see it. Achieving this kind of indetermination in a film is the highest goal that I always hope for but can never achieve." Filmmaker Christopher Nolan stated, "No one could make much of a case for Wells' abortive movie overall, but the movie contains heartbreaking glimpses of the great man's genius," going on to list Mr. Arkadin in his Criterion top 10. I tend to agree with all that. All right. So I'm up over 24 minutes. I'm going to go through my list and go up over 35 minutes. It might take a day to post this on YouTube. And of course, there's not a snowball's chance in hell of Professor Quiz discovering this movie review unless you point him out to the links that I posted on The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming movie. All right. So You Bet Your Life. I think I'm on 90 or 91 out of 126. I'm slowly getting to it. I drank the Total War. I drank 2 Total War energy drinks. And it really kicked me in the arse. I broke the wheel on the dumpster at the hotel because I was like the Incredible Hulk on that energy drink. Then I woke up early with leg cramps and I went to pick up my last paycheck at Good Eggs. So that was pretty decent. I was able to pay off all of my February bills. Now I just got my my rent payment. I think that's the last of it. And then I got my DMV registration, which isn't due until April. And I'm getting a lot of money later this month. So hopefully I can pay the DMV registration on Friday, get all my bills paid, except for my rent, and put a little money into Robinhood. And the following 2 weeks are going to be big money. Identity Unknown, 1945. Chain for Life, 1952. Untamed Women, 1952. Texas Brooklyn in Heaven, 1948. Beast from Haunted Cave, 1959. Moon of the Wolf, 1972. Hurricane Smith, 1992. Showdown, 1993. Best of the Best 2. TNT, 1997. My Dear Secretary, 1948. The Mystery Man, 1935. Bride of the Gorilla, 1951. Letter of Introduction, 1938. Dick Tracy versus the Mole, Season 1, Episodes 9 through 12. Devil's Island, 1939. Angel Town, 1990. Mercenary, 1996. Night Fright, 1967. DEFCON 4, 1985. Santa Fe Trail, 1940. Renegade Girl, 1946. Passport for a Corpse, 1962. Black Dragons, 1942. Cyborg Cop 2. Drums of the Desert, 1940. Shock, 1946. It Lives by Night. Train to Tombstone, 1950. Deputy Marshal, 1949. Broadway Limited, 1941. The Strange Woman, 1946. The Fighter, 1952. Bamboo Gods and Iron Men, 1974. Zero Tolerance. Ulterior Motives, 1992. The Big Chance, 1933. I'll See You in Hell, 1960. The Hostile Country, 1950. Three Desperate Men, 1951. The Star Packer, 1934. The Devil's Hand, 1961. My Outlaw Brother, 1951. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Talons of the Eagle. Riders of the Whistling Pines, 1949. The Final Curtain. Safe and Effective, A Second Opinion, 2022. Malibu Crush, 2022. Dead Ties, 1996. Easy Money, 1936. Swing High, Swing Low, 1937, An Eye for an Eye. The Real Anthony Fauci, 2022. Return to the Batcave, The Misadventures of Adam and Bert. The Giant Gila Monster, 1959. Shadows on the Stairs, 1941. The Bigamist, 1953. The Unholy Four, 1954. Triple Cross, 1966. Hold Me While I'm Naked, 1966. Head, 1968. 1990, The Bronx Warriors, 1982. Exterminators of the Year 3000, 1983. Platoon Leader, Penny Serenade, 1941. Creature from the Haunted Sea, 1961. War of the Satellites, 1958. The Black Raven, 1943. He Walked by Night, 1948. They Were So Young, 1954. Whatever It Takes, 1998. One Dark Night, 1982. Cipher Bureau, 1938. Sinners in Paradise, 1938. What Price Crime, 1935. Maytime in Mayfair, 1949. He Walked by Night, 1948. Oh, I already said that. Never mind. The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, 1946. Tarzan the Fearless, 1933. Monstrosity, 1963. Diamond Trail, 1933. Sinful Cargo, 1936. Youth on Parole, 1937. I'll Name the Murderer, 1936. The Chase, 1946. Impact, 1949. A Stranger in Town, 1943. Half a Sinner, 1940. The Devil's Hand, 1961. Captured in Chinatown, 1935. Rimfire, 1949. Deputy Marshal, 1949. Tales of Robin Hood, 1951. The Magic Sword, 1962. Bandit Queen, 1950. Crooked River, 1950. Marshal of El Dorado, 1950. Colorado Ranger, 1950. Bandit Queen, 1950. Oh, I already mentioned that. Never mind. Wildweed, 1949. Strangers of the Evening, 1932. Renegade. Devil's Partner, 1961. Fist of Glory, 1991. Night of Horror, 1981. Jungle Ground, 1995. Scanners 2, The New Order, 1991. Scanners 3, The Takeover, 1992. Scanner Cop 2, 1995. Great Guns, 1941. Saps at Sea. Charlie Chan, Murder Over New York. Best of the Best 4, Without Warning, 1998. Excessive Force, 1993. Don't Look in the Basement 2. The Mad Monster, 1942. King Kong Lives. Drum, 1976. And Extreme Justice, 1993. Well, I better cut this off. I'm up over 33 minutes. It's going to take me forever to upload this. But I went through my crazy week. My inability to get much of Stephanie's attention yesterday. My inability to get a firm work schedule. My future tax refund. I don't know. Let's just say I'm going to get about $24,500 before the end of the month, and after my next paycheck next Friday, which should be about $800. So I'm looking to invest a lot of money in Robinhood. That's the plan. Okay, I'm up over 35 minutes now. I went through my list. Let me show you the third Mr. Arkadin disc, and then I'll cut this off real quick because I got 13 and a half hours of sleep, and I'm on the Red Line energy drink, my favorite. There's a Mr. Arkadin, the comprehensive version, the 1 hour, 45 minutes version. There you have it. And I'm done. Laters.